Injuries, arrests and soldiers on the streets. The situation in Los Angeles remains out of control. Last night, clashes broke out between rioters and the police. During the day, leftist street violence perpetrated by a mixture of activists and immigrants continued in front of federal buildings. They are demanding a halt to deportations being carried out by federal authorities.
Get out of the streets! Get out the streets! Make some noise! No silence! No compliance! And defiance! Free David Huerta! Free David Huerta!
David Huerta is one of the leaders of a labor union in California who was arrested on Friday during an immigration raid.
Nothing will be resolved with violence. Violence begets violence. We need to be able to have, our movement needs to be one of nonviolence. Our movement needs to be one that we hold each other accountable to creating heaven on earth.
After a court hearing in Los Angeles, he was released on bail, except that this organized street violence has taken the arrests of illegal immigrants as its pretext. Protests quickly turned into riots, which during the following 24 hours spread throughout the suburbs of Los Angeles. That is why Washington decided to send the National Guard to Los Angeles, and after another dozen or so hours, it also sent in Marines.
Thank goodness we sent out some wonderful National Guard. They've really helped in a lot of problems they were having out there. They were afraid to do anything, and we sent out the troops, and they've done a fantastic job. So I want to thank them very much.
The city's Democrat mayor claims that the Trump administration's actions are illegal and has announced a legal battle with the White House. She believes that the city's own forces and resources were sufficient.
I was trying to make the case that the National Guard was not needed here. I was trying to make the case that if the National Guard came here, it would be a provocative move, and it would be like a deliberate attempt to create disorder and chaos in our city. It was very predictable what was going to happen here, and it was completely unnecessary.
However, looking at what has been happening on the streets of Los Angeles since Friday, the situation was clearly and obviously not under control. Just yesterday, the police chief admitted that things had gotten out of hand.
Do we need them? Well, looking at it tonight, this thing has gotten out of control. Before I could answer that, I'd have to know more about what their capabilities are, what their role is intended to be able to make that determination.
The issue has become explicitly political because of the friction between California state authorities and Donald Trump. According to Governor Gavin Newsom, Trump had no right to send in the National Guard without his explicit request. However, the president believes that the situation required an immediate decision.
And if I didn't get involved, if we didn't bring the Guard in, and we would bring more in if we needed it, because we have to make sure there's going to be law and order. You had a disaster happening, and they now admit it was a disaster. I watched the chief yesterday, who's a good man, by the way, and he said, "Wow, we're lucky we did this because they were overwhelmed."
This political row is made even more poignant by the fact that the state authorities are the same people who were responsible for the disastrous rescue operation during the Los Angeles wildfires last year. It then came to light that the fire hydrants were empty and that the city had cut funding for the fire department and infrastructure in favor of supporting LGBT-related ideological projects. Today, Donald Trump announced that he would support a possible request to arrest the governor of California if it were to turn out that the riots in Los Angeles were the result of negligence on the part of state and city authorities.